everyone, welcome back to TILTS, the Interesting Liquid Talk Show. I'm Avery, and they decided to bring my ass back for episode 2, so I'm excited to be here. Thank you guys so much for the positive feedback on the first episode. Be sure to hit the follow button on your podcasting apps. We're on Spotify, Apple Music, and we're on YouTube as well, so be sure to subscribe there. Today on TILTS, we have the Team Liquid League of Legends Pro Team. Not everyone, just 2 of the players and their brand new head coach. Their summer split starts soon, so what better time to bring them on than now? Today on the show, we have Broxah, the Team Liquid jungler, world's runner-up, the most impeccable posture I have ever seen in my entire life, the Denmark King. Thank you so much for being here.
Hello.
Next up, we have Tactical. He is Team Liquid starting AD carry, youngest League of Legends pro in North America. Handsome, full of memes, the Zoomer himself. Thank you so much for being here, Tactical.
Sup.
Lastly, we have Jatt. He is the brand new head coach for Team Liquid, former Riot shoutcaster, the voice of NA, and the owner of the world's cutest dog I have ever laid my eyes on. Welcome, Jatt, to the show.
Hey.
Look, I'm going to be honest, I'm not too knowledgeable in League of Legends. Would love to learn more about it, which I'm happy that you guys are here to inform me. So give me a little rundown of Liquid League of Legends.
I think Team Liquid as a whole, as an organization, has a pretty interesting approach with all the esports, really trying to push the limits, trying to always aim to be at the top no matter what it takes. And right now we're in a pretty interesting situation here in the league team, in the sense that we just played a really rough spring split. We have 2, actually more than 2. We have quite a few new members coming in, adjusted our team, and we're about to hopefully kick off a nice redemption right ahead of the summer split. So we're about to create a cool redemption story for ourselves, hopefully, over here.
Yeah. I'd also say that for people less familiar with Team Liquid League of Legends, it has a pretty long history. It was actually Team Curse back before it merged into a larger org with Team Liquid back in 2015, and it wasn't always championships. There was a meme of always finishing 4th place for a really long time, and then that kind of got turned around back in 2018 when Team Liquid won 4 splits in a row. I wasn't a part of any of that. Actually, none of us on this call were, but they won the 4 in a row. Last split was a huge disappointment, finishing 9th out of 10th. And as Broxah mentions, it's redemption time because a lot of the people that were around for those 4 consecutive titles are still here, and we're hoping we can just kind of add to it and get a 5th.
You're pretty new to coaching, right, Jatt?
Yeah, you could say that.
Congrats on the new position, though. That's exciting.
Yeah, thanks. So my history was I was actually a, I'm going to use quotation marks, pro League of Legends player back in 2011, because being a pro was much different than it is now, where it's this full-time job. All the pros back then were just the top players who happened to have some organizational skills to form a team so they could join competitions. But we were pretty good. We won a few tournaments. I then actually joined Riot, the company that makes League of Legends, as a QA analyst on the live design team, but very quickly after that became a commentator. And I actually commentated League for almost 8 years. So all of the competitive League that has happened, especially at international events for English language fans, I've been around to talk about it. And I was also a brief stint on the game design team, but now I kind of find myself here trying to do it myself.
I think you're going to do a great job.
I hope so.
I think you will. I'm just curious, what makes League so unique and different from other games that it's similar to? When I see Dota, for me, it looks extremely similar to League of Legends, but to you guys, you probably think I'm a big idiot for saying that. But I'm just curious what makes it so different.
Honestly, I have a pretty limited experience with Dota in particular, but compared to a lot of other esports, let's say Counter-Strike, for example, the game changes a lot over time. It's a really grindy game in the sense that every 2, 3, 4 weeks, there's always a patch that changes the game up. There's around how many champions now? 150 or so, with different spells, different abilities that you constantly need to learn. And throughout a year, or throughout 2 years, you go through that giant pool of champions, or at the very least, most of them. So the games are constantly, the game is constantly changing. Each game is different, and yeah, it's a really cool game with 5 very different roles. I'm not sure what else there's to say, really. I think that the way with how the game changes and all the patch changes happening every 2-ish weeks is probably one of the big ones. Where something like Counter-Strike has been kind of the same for like 10, 15 years. But here, I mean, the main concept of the game stays the same, but that giant pool of champions, as well as some of the items or like in-game things, constantly adapt and change from year to year, which I mean, I've been playing the game for 10 years now, and it feels like every year is different, which makes it really exciting.
Have you ever felt like a big patch kind of like fucked up your ability to play the game?
Yeah, so I actually, in my first year as a professional player, I've been pro for 3.5 years now, and in my first year, I had a big challenge because before, when I was in school and then when I was just playing ranked, playing on my own or playing for smaller teams, I only played strong carry-oriented champions, or champions that I found fun, like assassins and solo carry champs. And then eventually, after being pro for a couple of months, I had to play tanks and play a fully supportive style, which I was not used to at all. I just wanted to get in there, make plays, and do what I had done for so many years. And then all of a sudden, I was completely thrown off, and I had to spend months trying to relearn a different style, which is something that happens once in a while. Obviously, once you have more experience, there's a limit to how hard things can throw you off. But for me, at the time, that was a really interesting and exciting challenge. All of a sudden, having to obviously I was playing the same role, but I had to play the same role in a completely different way due to a patch change.
Did you guys know Jatt? Like, were you like not necessarily a fan of him, but like, did you meet him beforehand, and were you like a fan of his work as a commentator?
For me, not really.
You were not a fan?
Yeah.
I mean, all I care about is about solo queue. Then whenever I watch LCS, I'd be like, "Oh, cool, it's the commentators," and I would never bother to remember who they were really. Like, I would remember because I watched so many times, but like I never really thought of them. I just thought of them. They're shoutcasting it, and it sounded good on broadcast. So nice.
Thanks, man.
Nice.
I'm not sure. I mean, I've definitely been a pretty big fan of some of the commentators, and Jatt for me has been pretty high up there as well. Especially because he was one of the casters with a lot of knowledge about the game, really bringing in the analytical point of view as well, which I found really interesting. Because most casters have knowledge about the game to a certain point, but there's only like a handful of them that go, that can go all the way when it comes to the analytical side of it. And yeah, I mean, I've been watching for so many years, like, and yeah, it has been pretty cool seeing. I think I started watching in like season 2, season 3.
Oh wow.
Watching both EU and NA LCS back then, so I've been listening to Jatt casting for quite a couple of years by now.
How did you find out he was going to be your new coach?
After Spring Split, we had a lot of talks about how we wanted to move forward, what we could change within the team, and eventually Steve, our owner, came to the conclusion that, I guess together, but Steve made the final decision that bringing on an additional coach could be really beneficial for our team, because Dodo and Kane, as well as our analyst Tyler, were already doing a great job, but just adding more people, more manpower, and adding someone with with different strengths than the current coaching staff had was, would be a really good idea in terms of moving forward. And then, we had the team talks, and a couple of weeks or maybe a month after, Jatt appears.
So there's multiple coaches on a single team?
Yeah,
Is that how it works? They all have like different positions?
It definitely depends on the team, and League of Legends coaching is kind of constantly evolving. So if you were to compare it to, say, a professional football or basketball team's coaching staff, there is going to be a head coach. And if we're using American football, there's an offensive and a defensive coordinator that focus on the offense and defense respectively. And then there would be wide receiver coaches or assistants, or coaching staffs can range massively in terms of size, because a guy who's coaching the high school football team in your local community might be doing it by himself. But if you have a professional team, you're going to have 15 coaches, right? So especially with Team Liquid always trying to push the envelope and not worry about investment, just do everything you need to do to win. It's quite cool that we are able to have such a large coaching staff, because then it's about finding ways to get value out of all this stuff. So we're capable of doing some things that other teams aren't capable of doing because of the size of our coaching staff in terms of analysis or research or presentations. So it's about trying to find a way to make all that work.
Yeah, definitely. For your you guys are practicing now for your comeback. Mm-hmm. Have you been in like full practice mode? Like, are you guys going crazy?
So we've been scrimming this is our third week. We started scrims before a lot of the other LCS teams did, and that's generally pretty long days, 5 or 6 days a week. So we're going pretty hard, especially with the remote aspect adding challenges to all of it.
Are the players practicing well during quarantine? Is it like changing anything, like the quarantine?
I feel like the quarantine changes things quite a lot, and playing online and having to do all our meetings and discussions online rather than in person is a bit, I don't know, it's a bit off. It's not really ideal, because obviously when we play the game, we do play online, we do sit at our PC, but having that in-person contact and being able to sit together in the same room and watching a screen and going through something together makes everything a lot smoother. And especially now, with the new people coming onto the team, Jatt, for example, talking to him online is one thing, but meeting him in person and getting to know each other in that way is a bit of a, it's quite different, to say the least. So generally speaking, I feel like we've been doing pretty all right. Practice has been going pretty well, improving day by day, and I think everyone by now has gotten into their routines, and we're slowly but surely getting back on track.
Do you think it's like affecting the team's relationships at all?
I don't feel like it's affecting the relationships in that sense. It's a bit of a tricky situation, right? But at the same time, how I feel about it is that when you're a professional gamer, you're affected way less than a lot of other people out there. So if you look at the bigger picture, we are very lucky with the situation we're in. In terms of the practice, it's not 100% ideal, but it could be a lot worse.
Definitely. Tactical, do you feel like this is like affecting your first LCS season, kind of? Like the quarantine?
Yeah, ideally, I would want to play in the studio because that's much more exciting. But since we cannot, honestly, we've scrimmed 3 weeks already, and then I'm already super used to it. And for me, it was not too long ago that I was only playing online. Maybe like a year and a half ago, I was still playing in like online tournaments. So compared to like Broxah, who's been a professional player for 3.5 years, he said, it might feel less strange for me.
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely do feel a difference between like being able to see my teammates in person. I think it's just be more fun that way.
Is there like a big difference playing online versus on stage, would you say?
I haven't played on stage that much, so I'm not sure. I played in Academy last year, so a lot of my matches were still remote, so it's sort of the same for me.
That definitely is a big difference, but it also depends on the stage and on the game you're about to play, I would say. But in terms of the mental aspect, there's a really big difference in terms of just playing here in my room from going all the way over to the studio, going through the process there, like getting makeup, having team meeting right before the game, sitting together in the room, and slowly while you're getting closer and closer to actually walking on stage, you can feel the pressure, and you sit on stage, you see the crowd in front of you, you can hear the casters a little bit. There's a lot of things going on, right? And for me, we played the last bit of the previous split here from home, and it felt so weird because I didn't even remember I do remember the last time I played without an audience in front of me, but it's such a different experience, right? But at the same time, like playing in the studio is one thing. You can feel a bit more pressure, and it feels way more exciting playing there. But if you compare that to playing in a big arena with like 5,000, 10,000 plus people, then that's like a whole other level.
Do you guys still get really nervous on stage? I know tactical. I did my research beforehand, so I watched a couple of the squad videos. I watched both your squad videos. Tactical, you got a little nervous last split. I don't know, Broxah. I don't know if you get nervous, but do you guys still feel those nerves, or do you guys think those nerves will come back when it's time to perform on stage again?
I think I'll have nerves for like maybe one game, but that's it.
Yeah, I think you can handle it. I think
Once you start getting into the game, the nerves definitely go away.
Yeah. For me, it's more about like I'm playing the LCS now. That's so cool, rather than like the game itself. That's for me at least.
How I feel about it is that if you don't have nerves, something is wrong.
Yeah.
I feel like whenever you're about to play a game, regardless of the importance of it, but when you're about to play a competitive game, you need to have a little bit of nerves. And the most important thing is that you use the nerves to actually make you better rather than make you worse. And this is something I struggled with a little bit at the start of my career, in my first split in particular, because I got so nervous going on stage. And it's pretty tricky to play, when you get so nervous and you start thinking about, oh no, what's going to happen if I make a mistake? And I'm so scared of doing anything. But if you just use the nerves to, instead of like overthinking, to just focus and make your play even better, to just live in the moment and focus on your play, then I think that's really when you can perform the best.
Definitely. When your adrenaline is up, you definitely... I think it helps, to be honest with you, when the adrenaline is up.
For sure.
You're the youngest player, tactical.
Yep.
Right? Go off. Okay. Is it like a point of pride, or does it make you feel like you have more pressure on you being the youngest player?
It's a point of pride.
Okay.
I could be goofy.
What year are you again? Are you 2000?
2000.
2001?
2000.
Yeah, he calls everyone boomers. That's his privilege.
See, I saw that in the squad video. You're like boomer, and I can't remember who it was. They were like, what does that mean?
It's like literally every time someone dies who's like not tactical, he's just like, oh, boomer mechanics. Like it's just
4 boomers, 1 zoomer.
Yeah.
1 zoomer.
It's actually pretty funny though, because when I came here, like I joined around half a year ago, and when I joined, I was told, because I was the youngest one at the time. I'm from 97, so I'm 3 years older than Tactical. And I was told before coming here that I had to be the young, energetic one, pushing all the older guys, bringing the motivation, bringing the excitement. And now, all of a sudden, Tactical is here, was even younger than me. So it's a pretty interesting change.
Do you ever talk to your, I don't know, high school friends, I guess, and kind of like rub it in their face that you're this big professional gamer at your young age?
No, I don't rub it in.
That's not your
I might do
style.
it like in a sarcastic tone for
Yeah.
fun. Like, yeah, but it's not serious at all what I'm saying. Like, I don't mean it, but like I might do it for fun, where it's like, yeah, I'm on Team Liquid now, and blah 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 blah, and then obviously in like a really troll tone, not like because I actually mean it or think about it seriously that way. But yeah.
I wouldn't say that I rub it in either. It's pretty funny though, because most of my high school friends, we played a small tournament together. Like in my high school, there was like a LAN party with a League of Legends tournament twice a year, and some of us would play in that tournament together at the time. And I would be challenger, like I would be among the top 200 players in Europe at the time, and everyone else would be pretty low ranks, like around silver, gold, and they would just be walking around there, you know, bragging like, "Oh, we have this guy on our team, he's gonna smash you all," kind of thing. And then now, all of a sudden, I'm a pro player, and so, I don't know, they're all just really excited and supportive. And one of the coolest experiences I've had playing was that was 2 years ago, where the EU final took place in Copenhagen. And I'm Danish, and it's the capital of Denmark. So I had a lot of family, a lot of friends coming to watch, and all of them were you know, going absolutely nuts, screaming at me from the audience. So really supportive friends, that's for sure.
That's so sweet. I have a question for Jatt. What's it like transitioning into a new role during this crisis, I guess you could say?
Yeah. Transitioning to a new role and like switching careers in the middle of lockdown is very strange. Just like, so I was at Riot since February of 2012. So I was there for over 8 years. And the fact that I, you know, left that job to join Team Liquid, like just while everyone was working from home, is, you know, it kind of sucks because I'm not able to say, you know, the proper goodbyes to people. I'm not able to have those like in-person, like emotional connections with them and talking about how much the time I spent at Riot meant to me. But I also can't be too negative about it because, as Broxah mentioned earlier, like even right now, the three of us on this call from Team Liquid, we're just like so lucky. Like I look at what's happened in the rest of the world in terms of unemployment and people finding jobs, and even what's happened to like every other professional sports league. I mean, I actually was just looking at ESPN right before this, and apparently hundreds of players have been cut in minor league baseball. So like the fact that we are still able to prepare for competitive league games, and like the fact that I can find a new job, be a head coach of this really talented, really cool League of Legends team, like I'm basically just super lucky. So while it is really weird that this happened, and that this happened now, right, during the COVID-19 pandemic, I actually feel like I'm just super lucky. So hope that answers the question.
Is there anything you're gonna like miss the most from working with Riot for 8 years? Yeah,
I think I'm going to miss the people the most. I really loved the people and the relationships that I had at Riot, my co-casters, my managers, my producers, everyone on the production staff. The really cool thing is I'm actually not going that far. I'm doing something different now, right? Like I'm trying to win rather than trying to tell a compelling story. But when, you know, I still think it's going to happen. When eventually we are back in studio, I'll still be able to see a lot of those people again. It's just going to be in a different capacity, right? Because I'm going to be trying to win for Team Liquid. So, but I'm going to miss the people the most.
Think it's going to be weird, or are you excited to see them again?
Both. I think it's going to be weird, and I'm excited to see them again.
Yeah, definitely. Do you feel like you have imposter syndrome with your new role?
I don't know. It depends what you define as imposter syndrome.
Maybe like you feel like you're not prepared for the role. I feel like you're prepared for the role with your years of experience.
Yeah, it's strange. I am confident, but I don't want to be arrogant because I do not have head coaching League of Legends experience. So, Broxah and Tactical know, like I'm not coming in and saying, you're all wrong, listen to me. That's not how I'm going to do things. That's not how I will continue to try and do things. But I do feel like I can think critically about a lot of topics. I do have a lot of experience in related fields, and I can apply that to try and make us better. So, I wouldn't necessarily say that I like feel like an imposter, but I think I'm fully aware that I'm coming in as a new head coach. I'm going to make mistakes. I think Broxah and Tactical know I'll make mistakes, but I'm also going to try and add value. So coming in with as much honesty and transparency and communication as possible is just, what I'm going to do and what I've been doing.
Broxah, Tactical, were you guys like worried at all with having a new coach with no coaching experience? Did it worry you at all?
You can say yes, it's fine. Just pretend I'm not here.
Well, honestly, that's like my last worry. Right now, I'm like glad I'm able to play in LCS in the first place. Like, because usually it's not common that you see an academy player move up to an LCS team in the middle of a year between the splits. So I'm happy to work with whatever I have.
I mean, personally, I think what Jatt said was pretty interesting because, coming in as a new coach and even admitting he's going to make mistakes is pretty interesting because I think that's completely unacceptable. Obviously, a coach can't make mistakes. No, I'm just kidding. Based off of, the talks I've had with Jatt so far, I'm pretty confident in him as well. And I like the way he's approaching the head coach role as well, with like trying to learn along the way while still bringing some of his own opinions and own thoughts. And for me, it's also really exciting having someone come in who has been around the scene for so long, but who comes in with a completely different perspective, being a caster as well as game designer for a bit. And I think it's really exciting.
Do you feel like you're losing a more personal connection with your players because of what's going on right now?
I mean, like, losing is a strange thing. It's definitely making it harder. There's no way that I would say, like, Blue Sky, how would you like to come in and be the new head coach of a League of Legends team? I'd be like, all right, first off, I need to be in my bedroom. Second, I want them as spread out as possible. Third, I want to only be able to communicate online. No person-to-person like, come on. It's really a difficult thing, but we're making the best of it in terms of trying to have meetings. I'm trying to, chat up on Discord. I like it. I actually, you two, I know it's hard, but I like it when you stream. It's an easier way of stalking your solo queue. I feel like then I have something to talk to you about in the morning. But either way, like every day we're still working together. We're in a call all day during scrims, before a game, after a game, we're talking. It will absolutely be easier when we're at the training facility. Way better. But it is what it is.
When do you think you guys will be able to see each other? Do you guys all live in LA area?
Yeah, we're all in LA.
Close to. Are you guys in the same house? Is it like all the same? Not Jatt. Is there like a specific gaming house for all you guys?
No. It depends. There's a large amount of the players and staff are in apartments.
Okay.
Some of the players live in, offsite basically in their own place. I am still living where I was, when I was at Riot. I've not moved. So we're relatively spread out. I think Broxah and Tactical are definitely much closer, but yeah, for the most part, we're not like Team Liquid. Normal setup is people can live where they want. Team Liquid will supply housing for the people that want it, but the training facility is there for practice. So weirdly, like some teams, we're still using a gaming house, which in a sense, in terms of like the infrastructure of League, you could say that, like, in my opinion, apartments and office space, apartments and training facility, which is what Liquid has, is, I think, better than gaming house where you also practice, because then you don't have that separation of work and life. When this happens, though, it would be nice to have the gaming house.
Yes.
Because when you are told to stay at home, if your home is also your office, then it's fine, right? So in a weird way, right now it is not paying off to have had the training facility, but it will be better when we can use it again.
Do you guys think if there were matches going on tomorrow, you could win a game?
Yeah.
Of course.
I would surely hope so.
I would hope so. Yeah.
Should new talent be given more opportunities to prove themselves?
But yeah, if the talent are able to prove themselves within their own org, and the org sees value in them, then yeah.
Do you get a lot of hate for replacing double lift?
I don't think so actually.
Or do you feel like a lot of people like you?
Yeah, I think so far the majority of the interactions I've been having with random tweets at me have been positive, so I got that going on for me.
Broxah, do you get any hate on Twitter?
I well, for the most part, I have very, very nice and supportive fans. I have experienced quite a few times in the past, especially when getting knocked out of Worlds, getting knocked out of international events. There's been a couple of messages here and there that could be a little swallowed to tough, depending on
Yeah.
the mood. Sometimes I could laugh at them. Sometimes it could hit pretty hard. Because especially, I think one of the worst times was probably in 2018, because on Fnatic we got all the way to the World Final, and a lot of people from the Western world were hoping, or it kind of, I don't want to say expecting us to win, but there was a lot of pressure on us to win, and then we just lost 0-3, and yeah, checking my private messages after that was not the most pleasant experience, but for the most part and throughout the year, 99% or more of my fans are really supportive and kind, but there's always going to be this one person that's going to be really mean to you, right?
And,
even if what I do is completely perfect, someone from a rival team or just some random person can just write something really mean to me. It's pretty hard to avoid, right? That's how it goes.
You can get like 20 nice comments and you're like, oh, that's great. And then you get the one mean comment and that one sticks with you for it sticks more than the nice comments.
Yeah, I feel like you get used to it though.
Especially jungling in League. You get used to it.
Yeah, I mean, even playing solo queue, my role is it's pretty rough when it comes to that. Like, I can play a perfect game and other players can get salty at me or blame me for their mistakes or get really mad. That's just how it goes. But I think at the start of my career, it was a bit tricky to accept at times, but eventually I feel like I just got used to it. Like, a lot of players don't really want to know what the fans say about them either, and just stay entirely off social media or Reddit, especially after a bad game. And I tend to do the same, but most often I like knowing what the public says about me and what's going on, because I feel like I don't know, it just, I guess it just feels good knowing what's going on, and prepares me pretty well for what's to come.
Do you ever
deal with.
Do you ever read the Team Liquid or the League Reddit?
Yeah, I actually do probably way too much, to be honest. I don't know. I feel like, I mean, I did the same thing even when I wasn't a pro player. Now probably a bit more because it's kind of interesting to see what's going on around the scene, and I now know a lot of the people within the scene in a bit of a different way. And it's kind of cool to see what's going on, both with teams and content creators, influencers, and changes in the game and whatnot.
How do you know when feedback is like good feedback or bad feedback? Like, do you ever read something and you're like, oh, that's stupid? Or
I think sometimes when, like, let's say if, those times in the past where we would drop out of a tournament and a lot of fans would be completely furious, a lot of the feedback they give is kind of interesting in the sense that people can write something about how we played or what we did wrong, and they can, like, whenever you lose, fans, or some fans at least, are always going to want to find a scapegoat. Like, even casters, I mean, anyone, if someone loses, a player usually is scapegoated. And generally, how I like to see everything is that, like, whenever I have been in that position, usually how I think about it is that no one out there is going to be more angry and frustrated than I am. Like, you as the player will always be so much more angry at yourself and actually know what you did well, what you did wrong, and most importantly, just taking in your own feedback and the feedback coming from the closest people around you, like your teammates and the coaches, because that's something you can actually work with. It's the same thing in sports, like older people can sit at the TV, watch a football match, and they, their team is losing and they sit there and scream at their players and yell at them. But in this case, because a lot of the fans and community around the scene are younger, some of them tend to become keyboard warriors on the internet, right? So it creates a bit of a different situation because they can actually reach out directly to the players.
Do you read like Reddit, like the Team Liquid Reddit and the League of Legends Reddit at all?
I used to read it more often, but recently not really. I decided that it's probably better for me that I don't look at anything at all. And I have not looked at it for a while now.
Nice.
I think that's good. You probably would get a bit too much confidence looking at the Team Liquid one lately.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure I'll start to experience more of the hate once once I get to play more matches. Maybe I might mess up, and then it'll be worse because I've only played 3 games on LCS, so there's not much to say much about me. And we won 2 out of the 3 games, so there's not much anyone can really say to me yet. But I'm sure starting at some point, I'll get those occasional people who will want to send me hates or say something bad about me I played. But obviously, like Broxah said, the players will know better that how angry and how frustrated they'll feel. So I don't need any validation for anyone else to feel that.
I think a lot of Brox's answers would be similar to mine, and like, how do you deal with negative feedback? Because like as a caster, you actually get a ton of negative feedback. Weirdly enough, when North America would lose at international events, like I get flamed. So like that's why it's going to feel really good if I can make a difference for that as a coach, because as a caster, I have no input on how well my region's teams do. So going to try and fix that problem a little bit. But
that's why I became a coach.
Yeah, it's Reddit. Reddit did it.
Reddit did it.
But what I like what Broxah said about trusting your inner circle. So that's like, that would honestly be my advice, and I'm glad Broxah said it, to anyone trying to deal with like internet criticism, because it can be tempting to read it and it can be good to read it. Like positive sentiment is good and can help fuel motivation, but an overload of negative sentiment, especially from people who are judging you based off of an extremely small part of your career and who you are and what they've observed, like you can filter that stuff out, but the important thing is that you have people who can give it to you straight that you trust, right? So I was, I had some great mentors when I, as a caster, from other people that I was able to talk to when I was feeling stressed and stuff. And, it's really important to be able to find those people in your life, because, Reddit and Twitter will always get super negative on you at some point. Almost no matter what you do. So we can, especially within Team Liquid, we can help support each other if stuff turns negative, but it's not a big deal if you read it or don't.
Do you think you'll get more negative feedback or maybe positive feedback being a coach instead of a commentator?
Well, that depends on how Team Liquid does in summer.
We'll make sure he gets a lot of positive feedback.
Even better. Yeah. This is all on you guys.
I feel like it's also important to highlight that generally speaking, most of the fans are actually really positive and really nice. There are those times of the year whenever a region does poorly at international events where things can get a little crazy for a while, especially NA got hit pretty hard at last Worlds. But generally speaking, the fans are really, really nice and supportive, and I felt that when joining Team Liquid, for example. I'm sure Tactical felt the same. That it's like you're just joining the team pretty much out of nowhere, kind of unexpectedly, and then so many people welcome you with open arms, sending you so many kind and supportive messages, and it's the same, whenever we're streaming or something. There's so many people coming in just to have a good time and spread positive and good vibes, which is really nice.
Yeah, we overall, if all you did is read Reddit and you're just like reading the titles of like, wow, our community is so toxic, like that's an exception. I think Brox is right. The majority of people that support us and are fans of League of Legends esports, like, it's pretty great. There's a lot of really positive people, so I'm happy for that as well.
Wait, do you actually think that the League community is toxic?
Depends.
I think when it comes to it, most communities that are in a competitive setting, especially in video games, can be pretty toxic. Because generally, there's a bit, I don't know, I'm gonna call it a meme. Like, there's a meme about League of Legends being extremely toxic and being such a bad community, but I've played other games in the past as well where I would literally quit the game after a week or so because people would flame me to the ground for being bad at the game, which is not really much of a surprise. I mean, being bad at the game, that is, because I've spent like 10 years playing more or less exclusively League of Legends, right? But it's... Whenever you're really into something, whether it's esports or regular sports, and you get so excited about it and you're really competitive, you really want to win. Obviously, if something goes south or, you're going to get really frustrated, or in some cases, if someone does really, really well, you're going to get really jealous and you want to get some anger out of them. And I feel like in sports it can happen as well, that people get frustrated at each other and start yelling at each other or something. But when someone can say these things hiding behind a PC, the chances of it happening is just so much bigger. And that goes for League. I feel like we've seen a lot of it in League because it's been one of the biggest games for so long. But from my own personal experience, it happens a lot in other games as well. That's just how the internet works.
Are you strictly only League? Like, I know you're pro League, but do you play any other games?
I rarely play other games. I used to play other games a bit more, but after becoming a pro player, how I look at it is that if I spend my free time playing a lot of other games, then I mean, I don't want to say I don't have a life, but it's pretty extreme. Like, I can never get away from my PC ever. And for me, having some time away from the PC and getting to do something else, spending time with close ones, or going for a walk, or doing whatever is really important. And given how grindy this job is and how much work it takes, how many hours it takes a day, it's pretty hard to fit in other games. Obviously, during the off season, it could be possible, but throughout the season, it can be pretty difficult. I know you played some other games during the off season, Tactical.
Yeah, but then for me, eventually, I'll always have the ranked withdrawals where after maybe if I don't play Solki for 5 days, I'll be like, I really want to play. Like, I can't wait any longer. I have to play, or else it's like I'm gonna die.
Tactical, do you have an addictive personality?
I have no idea.
You don't know?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because you're thinking about League when you're not playing League.
Oh yeah, I am.
Are you that way with like anything else, or is it just strictly League?
Just League.
What game did you play before League?
Team Fortress 2, Maple Story.
How good were you at Team Fortress 2?
I mean, I was like playing like an amateur level. Obviously, I wasn't very. Not obviously, but I wasn't very good. But I liked the competitiveness of a game I enjoyed. So I did that, and then a friend showed me League of Legends, and I was hooked instantly. Like, they tried to get me to play for like 2 weeks, and I kept saying no every time. And I played one game, and I was just playing it every day. All of a sudden, the whole day, every day.
Should I give it a shot? I feel like I'm missing out with League. I played it for like 5 minutes. Someone's like, oh, try out League, and I got to like 5 minutes in the tutorial, and I was like, I can't fucking do this. I don't know what's going on right now.
For me, at least,
I've never played Dota. No, like I just don't know what's going on. It just seems so confusing.
for me, I didn't know what was going on either, but it just clicked. Something. It was just fun for me.
Did you like choose a specific character and then you're like, oh yeah, this is the
I don't
person I'm
remember.
playing as?
All I remember is that I'm running around pressing random buttons. And I'm like, this is so fun.
See, that's what makes it difficult for me because I'm running around pressing random buttons and I'm like, I don't know what's going on. How do I do this?
Yeah. Some people will like different types of games in different ways, but for me, it just clicked at the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, this guy Tactical. So we played 5 days of scrims, and then we took Saturday, Sunday off this last week. This week we're playing 6 days of scrims, and I was like, "How was the weekend?" And Tactical was like, "I can't believe we had 2 off days. Like, I wanted to scrim like after one. I was like, I don't know what to do with my time after one day. So like, it's good to have motivation like that because if you want to win, like if you think about professional NBA players or other professional sports, like your traditional schedules don't work, and your traditional hobbies oftentimes you don't have time for them. It's a harsh reality, but it's also what you need to do to be the best. So I even as a caster, I've had a hard time getting like good at other games. Like I'll play them, I'll try them, but you know, League kind of has to be the game you play if you want to be the best. So.
You still play League a lot, or you just coach?
Well, I mean, let me tell you, after a hard day of focus, when I play bad. But yeah, I still play League. I think right now my boomer mechanics have me in Diamond 3, as Tactical would say. But I'm still like, what is that, like top 2% or something? It's not. You tell a pro that you're Diamond 3, they tell you you're awful. Compared to an average player, it's pretty good. But yeah, that's where I'm at. I've actually had a bunch of wrist issues because I've been playing games like from high school probably till when I was 25. I probably played like 12 hours of video games a day and had really bad wrist posture. So I actually had a few surgeries on my wrist and elbow. So I actually can't play more than like 4 or 5 games a day, even if I want to now.
That's what they call a boomer.
Boomer.
What happened? What was the wrist?
I mean, it doesn't really show up. I actually had a bunch of stuff done. So it's this thing called the TFCC, which is a bunch of cartilage around the outside of your wrist here. Funny story. Basically, it just like started hurting one day. I thought maybe I hurt it playing basketball because I fell down, but like it never really hurt that much in the moment. The weird thing with TFCC injuries, as I learned over the years, because it's really hard to get like a diagnosis on it, is that they don't heal naturally because there's no blood flow. So eventually I found like a specialist who was able to say like, hey, I think you have a TFCC tear. But just because of like the, I don't know, architecture of the wrist, even an MRI can't find out if you have one. So you have to go in with a scope. So I'm like, all right, whatever, let's do a scope. And for that, he was like, all right, we're going to do the scope. And there's 3 things that it could be. There could be no tear. And then it's just like, you're just going to, deal with this pain for however long. There could be one type of tear, in which case you'll be in a cast for 2 weeks. Or you could have this other type of tear, which is a harder thing to repair and means you'll be immobilized in a cast for 5 weeks. And you need to do a general anesthetic for that, so they put you under. And I wake up, and obviously, something's happened. So either it was the scope or it's, one of the other 2 things. Doctor comes back in, and he's like, so you had both tears. And I'm like, sweet. So I was in a cast for 6 weeks and probably didn't have full strength back for about a year after doing a bunch of physical therapy. And the way they actually solve it is they fix the tear by making scar tissue. So I have a bunch of scar tissue in my wrist. Also, do you know your funny bone? Like you ever hit your funny bone? That's actually called your ulnar nerve. It runs all the way from your shoulder down to the bottom of your pinky and about half of your ring finger. So if you're someone who like sleeps on your side a lot, there's a good chance that you have numbness in your pinky and half of your ring finger. Or your pinky will actually curl a little bit when it's at rest. So kind of like that. But you can straighten it. But if like your default is like that, maybe your ulnar nerve is a little pinched. Anyway, when your ulnar nerve gets really pinched, they actually move it. So my ulnar nerve in my elbow is actually in a different place. So I can't actually hit my funny bone anymore because it's not there.
You're so lucky.
In a sense.
I mean, like, other than the fact that you had to, get wrist surgery and stuff.
Yeah. Anyway, it's like, I don't know. I can lift weights again, which I couldn't do when I had the TFCC tear. It's either from, like, the TFCC is either from basketball or it's from excessive gaming. I'm not sure. The ulnar nerve is definitely from posture and, like, years of having it crunched up in the wrong way. But whatever it means is if I've noticed if I am on the computer for like more than 3 or 4 hours a day, my wrist will start hurting again. So I actually, like you guys, when we're in review, I'm doing everything with my left hand. I've just switched to left-hand mouse unless I'm playing League, in which case it's right hand. So it's that's just it. That's my wrist issues.
All right, Broxah, Tactical, are you guys like nervous for your hands now? Nervous for your wrists? Or are you guys keeping pretty good care of your wrist exercises?
It's fine. I'll stretch them once in a while.
I mean, yeah, you're a Zoomer. You should be good for a little bit longer. But,
The Zoomer buff.
You have many years left in you.
Yeah, I think the next generation is going to have access to much better care because, like, my journey through the medical system to try and find treatment for this was like really hard because there was I could never find a person who actually understood what like competitive gaming would be, whereas like Team Liquid as far as I know actually has a physical therapist that actually like both pre-COVID would come weekly and work with the guys to make sure that they had whatever therapy they needed and make sure that they're sitting with the right posture. So like I think all this stuff is actually avoidable. I just did not avoid when I was younger.
Yeah.
I was about to say that as well, that as Jatt just mentioned, before the pandemic went out of control, we actually had both a physiotherapist and a chiropractor coming. And they would like rotate weekly. So 1 week it would be the physio, then it would be the chiropractor, then physio, and then it would kind of keep going like this. And this is something I was extremely impressed about coming here, because when I became a pro gamer, I went to the physiotherapist on my own back home in Denmark to try to make sure that everything is all right, to get some exercises that I can do to avoid any issues, because it is pretty common that pro gamers get, or even gamers in general, have wrist issues or back issues or whatever it may be. And here at Team Liquid, I didn't even have to ask for any of it. It's like I randomly appear, one day in the middle of the split, and then they tell me, oh, by the way, in 2 days you can go to the physio if you want. Here you go. I'm like, what? What is happening? This is so awesome. So having these things, and with people in the organization already knowing how important it is and handing it to us players. It's just one good example of how well we are being taken care of, and yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Do you ever avoid putting yourself in situations where you could hurt your wrist or your hands, or do you think you're pretty good?
I've actually thought about it before. I remember that there's been times in the past I would go to, like, let's say I would go to a trampoline park or something, and I would think to myself, oh no, I need to be really careful here, because if something goes wrong, then my career is kind of over, especially because depending on the issue and depending on how bad you hurt yourself, it can actually really damage your career in the long run, right? So I've had times, that's just being one random example, where I thought to myself, I actually need to be careful here.
Tactical? You don't care about...
I mean, once in a while, it'll hurt for like 10 seconds, and that's it.
You give it a little...
And then I'll be like, oh wait, I gotta stretch it. I forgot to stretch it, and I'll do that, and I won't feel it again for a few months, and then I'll be good.
Oh my god.
Stretch.
Weird.
But
yeah, you better stretch your wrist.
Stretch.
Last year, I had a pretty good posture on my chair, actually, but I think it got worse this year.
Posture check.
I don't know what happened.
But you're aware of it. That's the first step.
I'm always aware. I'm always thinking about it.
Are you? Like your posture?
Yeah, sometimes I feel like maybe my armrest is too high, or like it doesn't. I don't know, but I'm always trying to like find the optimal setup. Because
Yeah,
obviously,
Broxah, you got amazing posture. I'm looking. You're like, you're like
Yeah.
sitting straight up. I'm over here like Quasimodo from The Hunchback of Notre Dame. Jeez.
Well, it's kind of funny because normally I try to think about it as well, but then when I'm playing and it gets really serious, then my body just automatically, moves forward
Yeah.
like this when I'm really focused.
oh
But it is
yeah.
something really important to keep in mind. That's for sure.
Do you ever like sit there and you're like, oh God, I'm slouching like on like stage? Do you think that, or are you too into the game?
It has happened before that I thought that. I think more so in scrims rather than on stage in serious games, because in scrims I'm trying to build the habit, right?
It's kind of funny.
I actually had an example of when I would move forward without noticing. When in the off season, I was trying to play other games, like for example, Valorant came out, and I'll play more FPS games. I noticed one night I was super focused. And I would like lean forward, and the next day I woke up, my shoulders something were sore. And I'm like, oh my god, they're really sore. I can't really move them anymore. Like, so I had to make sure our posture was good after that. Even when I play an FPS game, but usually when I play League, it stays the same most of the game.
I didn't realize we were already at an hour. Jeez. Damn. Look at us go, guys.
Poggies.
Poggies.
I've actually never heard that one.
Really?
Never heard
Same.
Poggies?
That's a new one.
They search it up right now. The emo.
There's Pog, and there's Pog.
There's Poggies, Poggy,
Pogo?
Pogyu, Pause Chat,
Pogu? Yeah.
Pogo, Pog. Yeah.
Some of those I've heard, but
Okay.
how have I not seen most of those? Like I'm streaming so much and I don't even know them.
Poggers.
Do you feel like you're streaming more with this pandemic going on now? Jatt, you must love that.
Yeah.
That he's
Brox's
streaming
stream
more.
was really reliable before we started scrims and ruined it for all his fans.
To be fair, I feel like I've been streaming more than ever these past 2 months, and part of it definitely has been the pandemic, but it has also been due to a very unfortunate fact, being us finishing 9th place, giving me a lot of free time all of a sudden. And while having all that free time, there was a pandemic going on, and I didn't really get to experience much here in LA, other than my beautiful computer here. So I decided to take the opportunity to practice and stream and have a good time that way.
Tactical, are you on the grind? You on the stream
Not the
grind?
streaming grind, no.
What?
I don't like streaming as much because my focus is hindered, and I don't like it when I'm not able to play my best because of a distraction. So I get annoyed by that. But it's not bad to stream once. If I stream once in a while, it'll be fine because I won't think about it. But if I start to stream more often, I'll think about like the chat more. I'll think about trying to interact more. But then I feel like if I just stream just less, I'm able to focus more and try to improve myself better that way.
Streaming is really hard.
Yeah, I don't know how
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
can stream for like 10 hours every day for the whole year. I don't know. I don't understand that.
Streaming is very hard.
10 hours is a lot for sure. For me, it took some time to get used to as well. Because in the beginning, I found it so weird, even just sitting and like talking to someone who I could only communicate with through a chat. Like that felt a bit weird to me. But also, it is really exhausting. But I've been streaming so much and for some years now, so it feels like it is still a bit more exhausting than just playing and chilling for yourself. But at the same time, often it can also be really cool to have someone to share the good and the bad moments.
Yeah.
with.
I'm a full-time streamer, so it's definitely like it's more mentally exhausting than I think people realize. You got a chat that you have to entertain for like 10 hours. And then when you feel like you're not entertaining, well, not 10 hours, but, some people go crazy. And then you got to feel like you got to play better too when you're streaming. Because if you don't play better, then the chat's mad at you. That's how I feel anyways. Like, I feel like I don't have to, but I feel like maybe if you're a pro like you guys, then, and you're not playing up to your standards, or I guess maybe chat's standards, they feel like they're, I guess they're like a little more mean. Did they get mean?
I don't. For me, I wouldn't say it's me. I just want to play to my standard. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
But streaming might not let me do that more often than not.
Because you're too busy
Compared
paying
to-
attention to chat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even if I don't want to pay attention, I'll eventually look at the
You
chat.
look over, yeah.
Like just because it's there and I see something new to change on the screen, I look at it and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I read it.
Multitasking can be hard, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like you're kind of like trying to impress them at the same time. Like you want to show them.
Yeah, I
They
want to
know
show
how
them.
good you are.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, you want to be like, oh, I play like this all the time. But if you're not playing on stream, then you're allowed to, not play too well, I guess.
I actually think this goes back to the point from earlier about like if I stream and I have a horrible game, people in the chat can be angry, but I'm gonna be so much more angry at myself, so I don't really care.
Yeah.
Like if they're mean enough, I can just time out them and they're gone.
Yeah, exactly.
Generally speaking, most people are like, "Oh, it's fine. It happens to the best. We're gonna
Aw.
get you through the next one. We got this."
Oh, they're so sweet. Yeah, I feel like you got enough people there to support you, and they understand when you have a bad game. Definitely, you're just streaming. Do you ever look back on your VODs to like critique yourself?
Yeah, I've done that sometimes. One thing I noticed through streaming actually, which was like at the start, maybe like 2 years ago, was that I was swearing quite a lot compared to what I thought. Because when you just sit and you have a habit of swearing or doing whatever, you don't really notice because it's just like in your routine. But then I realized like, wow, I actually swear quite a lot, and now I'm at the point where I very rarely swear honestly. Like if I swear, I'm usually like I'm actually fuming. Like so, if I swear on stream now, the chat is like, he said a bad word. Oh no!
Oh, that's kind
That's kind of funny. I noticed that through streaming, so that was really funny.
Jatt, do you ever watch like their VODs to critique them, or do you watch their streams at all?
I watch their streams just oftentimes. I probably keep a earlier rising schedule because I actually do several meetings before I talk to these guys at the start of the day. So I'm usually up pretty early, which means I go to bed late. So like if they're streaming at like 11 or 12, I'll watch it kind of like as I'm going to sleep. In terms of like critiquing, that's what scrimming is. Like we play the game, we talk about the game. We play the game, we talk about the game. So in a sense, yeah.
Do you guys ever say Twitch emotes in person by accident and then you feel like an idiot?
I feel like
I feel like
I say it on purpose.
I feel like Tactical does that 100%.
I say it on purpose, not an accident.
yeah, that's just part of his brand.
Part of your brand, Poggies.
What's your favorite?
Poggies.
What's your favorite Twitch emote? Current favorite
Yeah.
Twitch emote. Because I'm sure it changes.
I don't know. There's too many. I really like the Pepe emotes. They're really
Pepe
good.
is
Give me your
great.
top 5.
Yeah.
No, I'm just,
There's so much variety. I'm not sure. Monka W looks pretty funny to me.
you
I like One Head. One Head's great. If
I've
you
never
guys-
seen that.
Oh, you gotta search up One Head. It's
I'll search it up right now.
so funny.
so
What the heck? What is this?
It
It's
looks
just
I mean, the most
Such
common
a-
I've seen is 3 head, 5 head.
Four House is a good one.
Yeah, 4 house.
One Head's really good.
Tactical paid for
Yeah.
Discord Nitro so he could have more emotes in chat.
Oh, Kek W.
Pepega's great. I get that
I
one
love
in my
using
chat
Pepega.
a lot.
Yeah. I like
A lot.
using. I emotes are a part of me.
I feel like I hate when I'm like talking to a person IRL. I was at dinner the other day and I accidentally said weird champ. I was like, oh, that's so weird, champ. And my whole family was like, and then I was like, I got to think about what I just said. I can't be saying Twitch emotes at the dinner table, man. That's so embarrassing. No one knows what I'm talking about.
It's just a matter
Yeah.
of time until they're part of, Merriam-Webster. I feel like that happened with LOL. People just say lol.
Oh, yeah. Lol.
Yeah. Like
It's like
you
normal,
could laugh
like-
instead, but it's just
No
just
one
an
laughs
expression.
anymore.
It's cool.
It's lol now. I definitely say lol out loud.
Yep.
Embarrassing.
Just give it time.
Just give it some time. I feel like people have come around to
Poggers.
internet lingo now. Poggers.
Poggies.
Poggies. You don't use emote talk, do you, Jatt?
I mean, I think I've caught myself saying pog. I think that's the only one I'll use in real life.
Yes.
Just pog.
Yes.
Like if something,
I feel like pog is very
Yeah.
common now.
Simple.
yeah,
Simple, pog.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely say that when someone's excited. Oh, that's so pog. And I'm like, that's embarrassing. Let's throw some nice compliments at each other here. Broxah, Tactical, what do you guys value about Jatt?
About Jatt. I like everything. Just kidding.
Thanks, bud.
Oh,
I'm just kidding.
You
I
don't
do
like
like-
everything?
so you don't
Yeah,
like
of course
everything?
Of course I like everything. Yeah, I like everything.
Oh, so precious.
That's all you want to say?
So
Just everything?
yeah, everything. It's been good so far.
I think I like quite a few things about him, luckily enough. But I think one of the things I've been the most impressed about, I guess, is his willingness to learn and how open he is towards feedback from anyone, and just trying to see what the team is like, what we did last split, respect all the values and routines and the structure we had back then, and then slowly start to adapt things a little bit along the way. But I think his openness towards feedback and discussions, and just in general towards everyone, is really, really important.
I appreciate Tactical's willingness to use emojis and educate the world on what all of the new things that kids are saying these days. So I can stay youthful just by being around Tactical. You know, being born in '87, I need to know what these Zoomers are thinking about. So I appreciate Tactical's willingness to not be shy, and also just like how open he is in sharing his opinions and expressing his ideas about the game. Because I think a lot of other young players who come from academy onto a team with such experienced players would be like way more shy. So I'm glad that Tactical's not. And for Broxah, I really love his dedication, and also just like as far as I can tell, the personality he has on stream, like his persona. For a lot of people, there's like a persona version, and then there's like a version that's normal. Broxah is just a nice guy. Like
Broxah's Broxah.
Yeah, I really appreciate how he doesn't get tilted. Like we could be having a brutal scrim, and Broxah will be doing everything possible to try and win every single practice game. So like that over time, I think can be infectious and make us a better team. So I appreciate that about Broxah.
We got to hear the Broxah to Tactical to Broxah.
I used the two best ones. So.
You did actually. You did. And I'm gonna use the exact same ones too.
No, you
Go
have
for
to
it.
come up with something different. I'll do the same.
Okay.
It's
Okay,
okay.
there's some
We
time
can
to
give you some
think.
time. We can give you some time.
Peppa him.
Pepper.
Peppa think.
Oh, that's good. No, I mean, I can start. Mine is it's kind of similar to Jatt's, but not really. I mean, I feel like it's gonna count. I think, as Jatt already mentioned, it's pretty impressive with Tactical coming in as a rookie, how open he is, willing to share his opinion, and I think his energy is actually really important for the team. As mentioned earlier, something I was told that I needed to bring a lot of coming in, and now someone even younger than me with a lot more energy is coming in and will really, just spread a lot of motivation, a lot of eagerness, willingness to learn, and I think having that on the team and having that different perspective can be it is really nice for all of us.
Tactical.
Nice. Okay. First, I'm glad I'm able to educate everyone with the Twitch emotes.
The Zoomer talk.
Yeah, the Zoomers, the Zoomer talks. And one thing, or more than one thing, I like about Broxah dude, his voice is pretty insane. No, it's so
No way.
it's so stable and consistent. Sometimes I even said to him once when he like talked about his early game plan. I'm like, wow, it sounds like you're commentating a game or something. I'm like, dang, this is pretty cool because out of all of us, I think you're the one that has like a standalone mic, not like a headset mic. So like you have like one of the better quality mics, but I'm like, wow, it sounds like I'm listening to like a broadcast or I don't know, that's sort of random, I guess. But
I actually don't use this mic when we're screaming.
Oh,
though,
you
so
don't?
The beautiful voice you hear in scrims
It's
is
just
straight
his
out of the headset.
oh, my bad. Never mind then.
Damn,
Okay.
the consistent
Never mind.
voice.
I see that's how consistent it is. No matter
Yeah,
what
it's
mic you use,
consistent.
it's the same.
You cannot compress his audio quality. It comes from his vocal
It's too
cords.
good.
It's really funny. Like out of anything, that's what you choose. And it's so funny because after just a couple of days of scrims, Jatt said the same thing about how funny it is that my voice, like when I make plans or when I make calls, it's like it sounds so calm and it's like in kind of a similar tone. So it's like, that's pretty interesting. Maybe
It's
we
just
need
really
to see
clear. That's
what
why
we
I
can
like
do
it.
about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always really clear because some people like me sometimes I stutter or I can't even speak English. It sounds like deb deb blah. Yeah. So I like that clear, concise communication.
The voice.
Yeah, the voice.
All right, I guess we could wrap it up on that compliment tactical. No, I appreciate you guys being here so much. Thanks for coming on the podcast for the second podcast episode. Hope you guys enjoyed being on.
Yeah, thanks for having
Taking
us.
time out of your day
sure.
to join me. Appreciate it a lot. Thanks, guys. Broxah, I'm gonna start with you. You can throw your socials out there where people can find you.
My socials. Oh, go check me out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitch at Broxah. Yeah, just find me out there. I'm trying to become a zoomer as well with the help of Tactical, so I'm sure I'm gonna have some interesting socials.
And Jatt, where can people find you?
Damn, Brox is a king of social. Twitch is big. I'm on Twitter and Instagram. I'm TL Jatt with an underscore on Twitter and esports Jatt on Instagram. Because I guess I haven't changed that one yet. Broxah has 100K on Instagram, and he's modeling all
What?
the most recent Team Liquid apparel, as far as I can tell.
Damn, okay.
But wait,
cool.
you're supposed to
Broxah.
advertise your socials, not mine.
I mean,
not that I complain,
The
but
point of a coach
People
is to
appreciate
enable
you
his
so
players as
much.
much as possible. So
wow.
Brox's
I like this new
poppin'
coach.
Instagram is what you need to check out.
And Tactical, where can people find you?
You can find me on Tactical on Twitch and on Twitter.
Ooh,
Also-
DMG Tactical.
Do you have a
Don't
do you
forget
have
in
a
the
TikTok?
first week of LCS.
I feel like
Don't forget
TikTok is where all
TSM,
the kids
so-
are these days.
Yeah, you'll see all the Zoomer memes. I tweet every day. I promise.
Zoomer
And
memes?
yeah, Zoomer memes
Every day.
every day, no matter what.
I'm gonna hold you onto that tomorrow.
All right, just kidding. No, don't do that. But anyways, yeah, Tactical on Twitter, Twitch. Also, don't forget to tune in for week 1 of LCS for me against TSM,
Oh yeah.
my former org, and I guess it's double lift. Yep.
We'll see you there. Thank you guys so much again for being here. Appreciate it so much. I'm Avery, and you can follow me on twitch.tv/Avery or Twitter and Instagram at AveryHam. Be sure to hit the follow button on whatever app you're listening on, and be sure to rate us 5 stars on Apple. Thank you guys so much.